This is TWiT.
So you spent some time, digital assistants like these, I don't know, it kind of feel still like somewhat of a niche, though they're growing in popularity. In your time with the Echo Show, do you think this is going to help speed up that trend? Is this going to change the landscape?
Unlikely. I mean, I always thought these digital voice assistants pretty much replicate what you have in a phone anyways. You have Siri on the iPhone, you have Google Assistant on Android devices, now you have Bixby on Samsungs, and you also have Alexa itself on various phones. There's some phones in China and India that run Android that have Alexa as the voice service. I know Huawei has Alexa as an option instead of Google Assistant. But adding a screen on top of that just furthers my point, because a lot of what you can do on the display on the Echo Show could be done on a tablet screen or a smartphone screen. In fact, I would say the experience of watching a video is much, much better on a tablet or a smartphone, not the Echo Show. In fact, I have an Echo Show right here, if you wanted to see it.
Yeah.
This is what it's like. It's pretty bulky. It looks like it's straight out of the 1990s.
It's funny, as you hold it up, it actually reminds me of our archaic old 50-inch rear projection LCD TV in our living room, but much smaller. Like, is there super boxy? I mean, that was one of my questions, is about the design. Do you think it's going to fit? We've gotten to this point, especially with this category of devices, where they design these so that they fit into your home and they look almost like they belong on the counter or they belong on the bookshelf. Does this fall into that category, in your opinion?
I mean, well, let's be honest. The reason why Apple always strive to make their devices thin and light, as everyone says, every new generation, whether that's true or not, is thinner and lighter, is because these are something that you hold. This is something you put in your pocket, right? It's something you put in your bag. But if you have a device that's plugged into the wall at all times, which the Echo Show is, it requires power. Doesn't really matter how big it is, how it looks, right? It's basically for the utility only. The design is not as important. I know a lot of people are talking about it, and let's be honest, it really doesn't matter. It's functional because they need to make it like this to fit the speakers and the display components and the mics and all that. So I'll give them a pass on that. What I'm not going to give them a pass on is the screen is not as useful as it could be, as it should be. There's no differentiation here from a smartphone or a tablet, truly. And, I keep this in my living room, right? I have it on a table next to my couch. Now, within 10 feet of me, I have my big screen TV for the living room, I have my phone in my pocket, and I have my iPad on another table there. If I'm going to watch a movie, right, what am I going to do? Am I going to put it on the 7-inch screen of the Echo, which I would have to tilt and move my body and make myself uncomfortable to use? Or would I put it on the TV, or would I grab my tablet, right? It doesn't make a lot of sense to watch video on this thing in terms of normal use cases. But if you're someone who's cooking a lot in the kitchen, you want to make a quick video call, you want to make a recipe or watch a recipe video, then it's useful. But then again, you can even have like a tablet or a phone stood up there, which you can control with your voice now. You say, the wake word, and you can ignite Siri on your phone. Same with Google Assistant. There's not a ton brand new here. The differentiation here is it's in one device.
Okay, so let's say you have like an old iPad Air that you don't use very often, and you have a nice stand, and you set that. I mean, what's the difference? If you had to choose between, I'm sure you have old iPads sitting around. What would you do as an average person? Would you set up an iPad and trust Siri to wake up when you were across the room, or would you think that this would be an improvement over this?
That's a really good question. If I was someone who wanted to use voice throughout my day, throughout my life in my home, I might want a dedicated device to do it. But if I'm an everyday consumer that's looking to do things, basic tasks like ask Siri or Alexa the weather, or watch a quick clip on YouTube, or start playing a song, I don't see why I wouldn't want to use just my phone, because it's already there for me. It's all synced up. This is just yet another device that I have to have plugged in, another device taking up space, another device where I have to manage an entire ecosystem of Alexa skills and Amazon synchronization and all that. So I would, primarily go to the phone. Will I have one of these in my home? I don't know yet. I haven't made that decision yet. I'm going to keep using it. I think it's interesting that the video calling service is a proprietary Amazon-built network. So it's not like you're hooking up to Skype or Facebook video conferencing or FaceTime or anything like that. It's yet another service. Another thing that I wish it had was the ability to be a speakerphone. What I would use this for the most, why I would want one of these things, is to have a loud speakerphone. When I'm on the phone, I don't like to have headphones in. I like to put it on speaker, obviously with no one else in the room, but I like to have it on speaker. I like to walk around. I like to, be free, right? And this would be a perfect device for that. But you can't use a phone as your iPhone or Android phone or Samsung or anything like that connected to this as a speaker. And on the Google Home, it's getting a software update where you can do that. So it shouldn't be a place where you're picking and choosing, right? If you look across the ecosystem of home devices right now, the big three are the Echo Show in terms of the newest ones, the Google Home, and the Apple HomePod, right? They all have their pros, they all have their cons. I would say the HomePod and the Echo Show have great speakers, right? But the HomePod doesn't have a display, it doesn't have app integration, yet the Echo Show strong suit is that display and the deep app integration. The Google Home, it doesn't have great speakers like the HomePod or the Echo Show. It doesn't have a great media ecosystem like the Echo Show and the HomePod, but the core functionality, the search capabilities backed by Google are superior to the other two devices. There needs to be one device that really checks all the boxes, and we don't have that right now.
So to be clear, it's a different messaging service. It is a proprietary messaging service, but you don't have to have an Echo Show. Like I could call, if my dad had an Echo Show, he could video call me and I could use the Amazon Alexa app on my phone, right?
Indeed, you can. You could use the Alexa app on your phone. But, think about it for a few minutes. That's a huge roadblock to adoption, right? How many people download apps, never use them again? How many people say they don't want to use something because they have to download an app? The magic of FaceTime back when it first launched was that it was integrated out of the box with every iPhone. Just like Alexa is on every Echo speaker, right? Just like Alexa, the video calling service is on every Echo. So you really need that device in order to adopt it. You're not going to want to download an app. You're not going to want to set it up. People will forget to do it. People will forget about it. Someone wants to communicate with you through Alexa. They'll send you the link to the App Store app for weeks, right, until you download it, and then you're going to forget about it. Then your phone runs out of space. I think the app download process is a roadblock to Alexa spreading. Maybe one day they'll have their own phone, and they'll sell millions of them, and then it could become a big thing. But until then, I don't know how widespread the Alexa voice and video calling service will become.
Yeah, and if they come out with a phone, that would be a feature that they'd be touting front and center. Now, another thing that actually we started also hearing announced today is a new feature rolling out about intercom capabilities throughout the home, which is basically utilizing a feature of the Echo Show that got a lot of people talking when they first announced it, called drop-in. What are your thoughts on kind of what you've seen with the Echo Show as it relates to drop-in?
Yeah, that's a key flagship feature, and actually on Gadgets with Gurman today. And if you haven't seen our full review, please go to bloomberg.com/technology. We have the Gadgets with Gurman tab at the top and watch the full episode. And I'm sure TWiT will link to it as well in their show notes. But we actually did a live video calling demonstration where we have 2 Echo Shows here for review. I had one in my studio, and then I gave another one to Alex, one of my colleagues, and we did a live video call. The way I did it, I said, Alexa, call Alex. It rang. He physically answered it by pressing the answer button. But like you said, there's a new drop-in feature. And I really don't like this feature. When I asked Amazon about this, they said, this is for the people that you would give a key to your house, right? I'm like, I wouldn't give a key to my house to anyone. I don't care who you are, right? So you basically can say, call Alex. And if we both approve each other, authenticate in the Alexa app, it'll just answer the call on his screen. The glass or this display will look like frosted glass, like a changing room for a couple seconds, but then you just see everything. I wouldn't want that. I'm not going to authenticate that for anyone if I keep this device or buy one for myself. I don't see the utility for it. But for voice, yes, huge. Intercoms, there's plenty of homes that have intercom systems where you can call from room to room. Think of offices, hospitals, anything like that. Voice, great. The video takes it to a whole another level. Yeah. And the one pro I will say on this point, and they're making a big deal about this, there's a button on the top of the Echo Show. I'll actually show you right here. Is this button right here. And it kind of looks like it has like a circle with a line through it. You click that button and the camera and microphone are dead. You can't, it won't get in there. They say that they electrically shut off the camera input so a hacker can't get in from the back door. So if you want to just turn off the camera, turn off the microphone, you can stop that thing with that button, and then it puts a big red light on the top of the display. So that is a nice handy feature, and that will ease people a little bit more into it. But everyone I've talked about this drop-in feature with has really been put off by it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do like the idea of the intercoms, which isn't just for the show; it's for any Echo. Because I have dots in all my children's rooms, and now if I want them to come down to dinner, I have to send them a text message. But now,
how big is your house?
Yeah. So yeah, no, but I think this is massive. The intercom voice only, right? You put a dot, like you said, in every room. You have a big Echo or an Echo show in your living room, your den, or your kitchen, and whatnot. I think that's massive. And you can imagine an office wanting to give an Echo Dot to everyone in the bullpen and have like a main one to, send messages to each other. I get a lot of packages to the office. So, I mean, imagine if they had an Echo in the package room and, they could just alert anyone with an Echo Dot, hey, you have a new package, come grab. The TV department needs you to come over to the studio. Same thing. Could be more useful. It's quicker than dialing over the phone, So
yeah,
I think there's a lot of applications for that, and that might be the secret gem of this product.
Yeah, for sure. Now, one thing I noticed from watching your video today, Gadgets with Gurman, I noticed a couple of things in relation to kind of the sluggishness of the UI. I saw you would hear things before you would see them sometimes. So it seemed like there was a little bit of a delay of the video actually hitting that would match up with kind of the whatever you were hearing, the answer or the weather or whatever it was. And just an overall kind of like, I don't know, a lag in turning up or down the volume. It was almost like it had to kind of catch up to your speed of use. Did you notice that in day-to-day use?
Yeah, definitely. I noticed that a couple times. I can't speak to that being a software issue, an internet connection issue. Maybe the internet connection here was a little bit faster. I can't speak to the software not being ready, if there's a software update to fix that. At this point, I don't know. I'm going to keep using it, try a couple other Wi-Fi networks, make sure the software is up to date, and then come to the final conclusion on that. But I don't want to speculate on a negative that could easily be fixed with a software fix. But
sure.
I will keep you posted on that. That's a very good point.
Yeah. And then I think finally the big question for anyone who's considering this is, does it justify the additional $50? Because now this is the top of the line Echo because it has a screen. So it's a $50 premium over the previous top of the line version. What do you think? Does it justify it based on your time with it?
No question. I think for going from $180, remember, this is not a necessity of a device anyways, right? So if you're already spending $180 on a digital speaker that doesn't do much more than your phone, you could probably justify an extra $50 to get the screen. And of course, the louder speakers, that's a big part for me too, right? So it's worth the extra $50, assuming that you're already spending $180 on the speaker without the screen itself. And obviously, putting a screen in there opens up so much potential for the future, right? This is an Intel chip. It's a pretty high-resolution touchscreen, pretty advanced technology in there. So let's talk about it in a year from now and see how the app ecosystem looks, right? Remember, going from the original iPhone to the iPhone 3G, the apps change the game, right? Right now, we don't know what to expect, but we'll see. We'll see in a year from now how it looks.
Awesome. Mark Gurman, thank you so much for joining us once again. It's always great to get you on the show. Tell people where you want them to find all your work online.
And thank you for having me. You can follow me on Twitter at Mark Gurman. Read my work on Bloomberg.com/technology. We have the Gadgets with Gurman homepage. You can see all of our episodes there. So I'd appreciate tune into the show, send in your questions, and we have a lot of great episodes coming up. So thank you so much.
Right on. Thanks again, Mark. We'll talk to you soon.